dick, just say, man.
Absolutely not.
Or you want it off, that's fine as well. It's not a problem to me. Whatever you like, mate.
I'm happy, man.
You're happy, man.
As always.
Yeah.
I think we're a go.
I think we are. Yeah, we're good. Oh man, you Red Bulling?
I'm Red Bulling. I thought we're getting like
we're getting
pump on, right? So I was like, I've still got alcohol as well. But I love it.
I'm on squash, I'm afraid.
Is it Barocca?
It's not Barocca. I like Barocca, but it isn't Barocca, no. How you doing, man? You good?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm
good.
Very excited after today's post that shouldn't even be here yet, but I don't understand how it turned up so quick. But anyway, and I'm also excited about this. This will be fun.
Yeah, this will be good. This will be a good chat. Hello to you guys. Hello. Hello to Pete. How you doing, man? Hope all is well. Tony, we're talking about you earlier on, like, mate, Tony. So
Tony is toys. Like
I was going to call you Toy Tony, but that is actually someone, and that's the whole different thing. But yeah, some of the stuff that Tony's been picking up from, particularly from Leicester Vintage recently, has been insane.
If you don't already, just check out. Yeah, your Instagram's not private. No, it's public. It's just Tony McDermott on Instagram, and you will be wowed.
There's only a few things that I've seen that people have picked up that almost make me angry, and a box cracking. I've got to say, man, maximum respect. That is on my list. I'd like a loose Kraken at some point. I'm not going to ask how much you paid for it because either way, I'm going to go, what? So we're going to.
I saw a loose one come up on an American seller for $600.
That's done. No.
I know. I was like, oh, okay, that's not bad. And then I asked about postage, and they were like, absolutely not posting it to the UK. It will get broken.
I'll say, yeah, it'll get smashed. Yeah. You didn't let your old pal down, no. Although I bulked out of that.
You said you wouldn't post it, so I would have done that.
I bulked out of that Oculus. I'm not paying £100 customs for something. That would be
that was bad.
Ridiculous. Hello, Kieran. How you doing, man? Hope you were good. Aaron. Evening to you. Evening, Davenal. I'm looking forward to tonight's guests as well. They're absolute legends, both of them, for different reasons and for similar reasons. We'll get them in a second. Hello, Brad.
It only comes out for special occasions. I don't want to ruin it. I opened this like packet fresh. I don't know. Was it lockdown or just before lockdown?
1993.
I think tonight was funny guy. I think tonight was a special occasion.
Evening, good toys. Hello, Carlos. Some other dude. Andy Orton. I'll be the big boss, Dan.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is a joke. It is a joke. It's absolute madness. It's just page after page of insanity.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa! Spoiler, but yeah, it is a beaut. Hi, David.
I posted it like everywhere I could already.
I know he got overexcited. He couldn't wait like 3 hours. You notice I haven't posted the stuff that me and Ryan bought recently. That's self-control, that is. Hi,
but this thing shouldn't even be here. I'll explain that later. Hello, hey. Oh, so Paul, I've just seen your other comment. Yeah, the toy snooze top. I would wear your one, but I've grown a little bit. And the wrestling one that I got from you, oh man, that was a good few years ago now, actually. That was a long time. But yeah, it's far too tight.
Have you got a haircut?
I have.
I thought you had.
Haircut.
So, you know what? Remind me when I say now, whenever we watch wrestling and Pat McAfee comes up. Hannah is like, it's Andy. You are Pat McAfee.
No.
You just look a lot like Pat McAfee. I just have to deal with that, I'm afraid. Hello, Leo. Yes, wrestling collector. Absolutely. We're about to talk to a couple of serious wrestling collectors. The new me, Tony. What do you mean a new you? You never could leave anything behind. Madman. Hello, Colin. Good evening to you, sir. Paul's always on the edge of being sued for his creations. We love it though. Hello, Adam. Evening to you. Right, I'm going to get the guests on because I've got an agenda as in it's proper serious because I wrote it down and everything. I've got questions. I need answers. So let's bring him in. Yeah. Hello. So,
I got my gear on.
You got your.
I changed in 5 minutes, literally as quick as I possibly could.
Your wife's like, "What the hell are you doing?" Nothing. Don't talk to me.
Exactly. I'm naked. No. Yes.
we've all got the gear on, apart from Gary. Gary just couldn't be bothered.
Gary's
That's
got
fair
the gear
enough.
at the back.
I don't own anything like that.
Gary's come as a commissioner.
Yeah, I like Gary says, I don't know anything like that. He stands up and he's got full Rick Rude spandex. Pants.
That's right.
So, directly below me is Himesh, aka the Wrestlerness, on
It's actually
Instagram.
the restlessness. So I've heard you say it a few times with the restlessness. It's actually restless.
Oh, there's an S in there.
Yes. So that it's a pursuit of feeling restless, and so restlessness is the restlessness.
I mean, I would apologise, but the fact that you haven't corrected me today is kind of on you, my
I
friend.
know. I don't want to bait you out on your own stream.
Don't do it.
I
You should have done it.
behind your back, but it seemed to be the way it panned out in the end anyway.
In your own group chat of Legion of Hasbro, you're like, "This guy."
We see each other in real life. You could have mentioned it at any time.
I know. I keep meaning to pull you up on it, but it's fine. Here we are to correct it for the public myself.
Himesh, aka the Restlessness.
Yeah,
Actually, it makes
there
more
you
sense
go.
now. I say it like
That
that.
sounds really good now, Himesh. That sounds good.
And our good friend Gary, who in another Instagram story, so the Toy Crusade on Instagram, but it isn't spelt how you think it's going to be spelled.
It is now. I changed
You've
it.
amended it. You've amended it.
Yeah, I underscored it. So I spelt it wrong, and as CRUISADR.
I liked it because it was like the Toy Crusader. It was like you were
I know,
cruising the toy.
and then I had an epiphany the other day and thought I'll just underscore. I'll put an underscore on between Toy and Crusader and change it.
That'll fix things.
Well, I mean, on brand with wrestling. If not a gimmick change, then that's
I've turned heel, mate.
He's turned heel. He's going to start smashing the place up.
Already.
It's all over for us. Paul's been waiting for years for the wrestling talk. Well,
Here we go.
we're going to talk some.
So sad
We are going to talk.
make it happen.
Well, yeah, we had to get rid. Oh, we lost Andy. This
This is a wrestling talk. Let me leave.
He'll still be there. It means he's getting a phone call or a text or his food's there. So don't worry about
Part of my heel tactics, Himesh. That's what it is.
Yeah, there you go. Somebody started. The
He's
heel
healed him
commissioner.
He's healed him out. Hello to Sue. Hope all is well. Hello, Les. I hope you're enjoying your break. Follow both these legends on Instagram. Of course you do. Who doesn't?
Much
Who
appreciated.
doesn't? Love for Mesh's accessories hung on the gram. Yes.
Big shout to you, the toy scavenger, like top guy on Instagram as well. Please follow him and his crazy, amazing pickups.
We will be talking about some of Himesh's most recent pickups because they are proper bonkers, and I'm just upset we weren't there to win. I'm not upset that we didn't know. It's like I missed out. Nah, man, I'm upset that I didn't get to. I don't know about you, Gary, but
I didn't get because I'm looking around. There's literally no one next to me. Like, look at this. Where are my boys?
There's been a couple of times where, like, so for example, Himesh pulled out like an original demolition helmet, and he pulled it out and showed it to me, and I went, and he went, and he bought it, and we're like little giggling little schoolboys because we didn't know what it was. Like
it was like that look that Bonnie and Clyde give each other, just before they get gunned down and stuff. It was like the glance at your direction, the glance back at me, before the euphoria of like hallelujah starts spraying out.
Again, on topic, it is a rush.
Oh yes, it is. That's what it's going to be.
Is it? Gary's taken over.
The heel commissioner's back.
Hello to Himesh and Gary from Kieran.
Hey, Kieran.
Yeah. Well, Gary's a big Mask fan, so we're going to talk about that in a second. I want to go talk. We were going to talk a lot about SummerSlam, but I'm feeling we're probably going to talk more about toys. I don't know if you guys are right with that. I just want to talk about toys.
Yeah, no, it's
Fine with me.
It's like 100% Becky's going to go back to the man now that Ric Flair's his skin is so thin that he just gets up in the morning and it just starts bleeding, so he's not going to fight.
I hope defibrillators were on standby during
I'm not sure. I don't know, man. I reckon just burst him, pop him like a grape.
Yeah.
If wrestling don't kill him, Kid Rock will. So
King Rock will Republican him to death.
yeah.
Piper, we appreciate you. Of course we do. And his laptop's died. He's coming back. So, he's He's just messaged me. He'll be back in a second. Right. So, oh hello. He's back.
Look at
So
this.
you on your iPod now?
No. I'm on the laptop again. It had the warning that Aaron said he had a couple of times where it says the camera on your laptop's like turned off, but like it's an inbuilt
Oh.
I don't understand technology. But anyway, so if that happens again, I apologise.
It wasn't a warning saying you're talking about Power Rangers.
No. Just that there's something wrong with the camera.
Fair enough.
But then
Fair
also
enough.
I could hear you guys, but couldn't see anything. I was like, what the hell is going on?
So I want to talk about toys real quick. I want to ask Gary.
Yes,
Gary, what is your? So you're well known in more recently because you started to sell toys at some fairs.
Yep.
You're well known for having unbelievably good quality figures for sale. What are you currently collecting yourself?
It's very apparent, I suppose, in relation to the wrestling chat, but wrestling is probably my focal point at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I've still got quite a few of the big hitters that I need to collect, so they're money heavy. So I try to save up or sell what I can and build those up. I'm also on route of finishing my retro WWE retro collection as well. I think I've got about 3 to go now. Obviously, apart from the new ones that they announced at SDCC.
So I've got on my list of things to talk about. I really want to talk to you both about the state of wrestling figures, in particular retros and the companies that are making them. And I have some strong views, and I'm going to share them with you.
Oh dear.
Can I cut back one thing? So you said you've got some big hitters to get, and you wait and you save and you try and get them. I'm sure in this time you've collected every single Marvel that's behind you. In quite a few.
I kind of got a bit carried away with the Marvel stuff. There was a guy that I worked with who made some flyweight comment to me that I had no Marvel. Like, this is my office that I work in, like 5 days a week. So all of my conference calls are held here, and majority of the time it goes on to the toy collection more than it does the work that's supposed to be getting done.
Yeah.
So and he said, "Oh, you haven't got any Marvel up," and it pissed me off. So I was like, right, okay.
So I bought them all.
Yeah,
I completed it within a couple of weeks, just to spite it.
It worked. Yeah, like I said, and I'll show you some stuff later, like when we get to the toy stuff. But I have the guy out in US, and he does really, really good carded stuff, and he does it at really good prices as well. And it just so happened at that point he had like the Toy Biz Marvel collection, or probably 80% of it.
Yeah.
So I just bought it all. And it went on from there, and I was lucky enough to pick up the other ones in a short amount of time. They're not that hard to pick up, in all honesty, especially from the US. I don't think they're like over here a little bit more, but the prices seem to have gone up since I collected them, and that wasn't that long ago. So I'm glad I did pick them up.
But you also have a fairly extensive, like, not just Mask, but other sort of 80s and early 90s collection, didn't you? I know you're a big Mask man.
Yeah. I've got like I only have one detailed like cabinet, and that's full of Mask. It's like everything loose. I've got boxed Mask collections as well that I keep stored away. That was my original love that I had as a kid. Luckily enough that when my dad rung me up a few years back and said that the loft was about to break through because there was a leak, that I had to go and collect all my childhood toys, that 90% of my Mask collection was still all intact. So
that's good, isn't it? That's nice.
Yeah, and from there it just spawned out and went a bit crazy. I've always collected. I've been collecting since probably the age of 17, 18. Again, related to wrestling. So I sold my original Hasbros as a kid to fund the Super Nintendo.
Oh, so I don't think I sold them. I think I might have given them away. Or
I sold them to a game shop. There was a guy. There was a game shop local to me, and I sold them to him. And I remember to this day, he gave me £12 for Andre the Giant, and I thought that I'd absolutely had a steal.
Doesn't feel like a bad return, if I'm totally honest.
It was a great return. You got to think I was like probably 14, 15 years old. I'd got out of like playing with toys at that point in time. Yeah. So yeah, I took it. But when I got to the age of 18, 19, I got really annoyed that I'd done it because I loved those things. But instead of recollecting the Hasbros, I went down the Jack's line, and I started picking up Jakks figures, and I don't have any on display, but I've got a loft full of classic superstars, all of the Jakks line and everything, like all carded, that I went through like from the age of like 18, 19, all the way through to about 22.
I'm super particular about my Jakks / larger Mattel ones, like to the point of if it's not one of my favorite current wrestlers or Rick Rude or Demolition, I'm kind of out, because there's just so many of them.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous how many. But at the time, like I said, they were all new coming out, so there was still Woolworths around and things like that. I'd taken a trip to Florida at that point as well, so I went off and went mad and started buying lots of them and displaying them up when I lived at my mum and dad's house. That from there.
Jakks are they're like super car boot fodder as well. You can pick them up.
Yeah, that's why I've always just kept them on card. They're all on good condition. They're not going to be worth anything, but they're something that I collected personally. Like I said, I've got some good classic superstar stuff. Hey, Pete.
How's it going, Pete?
Gary has an awesome collection.
Thanks, buddy.
Hello, Triple G. Yeah, we will. I promise we'll talk about it. So I want to ask Himesh the same question, but first I want to question, just for my own information, off the top of your head, favorite Hasbro sculpt, favorite Hasbro figure from the original line.
Mine is Brett Series 8, favorite figure by a country mile. Colors.
So, is that pink Brett with silver shades?
Silver shades, yes.
Gary, favorite Hasbro?
I think mine is the second edition Boss Man, but that's purely from a personal perspective. I love that figure. It's
this little fella.
Yeah, I love him. He was just a figure that I always played with as a kid, and even when I first got him again, I fell back in love with him. So it was,
It's funny, man. Like I was thinking about this myself, and if I'm brutally honest with myself, even though it's one of the worst figures, both visually and action, the figure that I have the most nostalgic attachment to is the crazy-eyed pink Brutus the Barber beefcake. Just because I remember playing with it, basically. But yeah, there we go.
I think it was the one that everybody had as well, wasn't it? Like all of your mates, even if they didn't really like WWF at the time, it was everybody had a Brutus, or they had a Slam Hogan. I think that was.
If there's one thing worse than a jumper figure, it's a top heavy, weird angled jumper figure which just falls over the minute you press it. But so, Himesh, what are you collecting at the moment, my friend?
What am I collecting? Right, so Hasbro's are. I'm a loose collector primarily. Mm-hmm. So Hasbro's are done. The only thing I'm missing is the original Undertaker Series 8 coat. So I've got like a little repro, which is actually quite decent condition. But the whole completist element of me seems to take over every time I look at it.
At the risk of being that dude, because I'm in the same boat as you with regards to completion. Mm-hmm. But people say, "Have you got them all?" I say, "Yeah, I've got them all." Then I qualify it and go, I don't care about the mailaways. You haven't got the mailaways.
Well, I don't have the mailaways, but getting slightly itchy. I can't lie. You know, once you finish something,
dude, there is nothing. I have an amazing Hogan mailaway. Amazing custom Hogan mailaway. There is nothing in this world that would make me spend £1,000 on an individual.
I don't think I'd ever get one bagged and the way and in good condition. If I see one arise, because I saw like a couple of times in the last few years for Lucy, decent condition for £400-500.
Dude, we turn one down collectively. I say me and Andy, for £100, still in its bag. But this was like 6 years ago. We were like, There we go. So sorry, yes. It's the past. So yes, Hasbro's. I know you are the man, but anything else you collect at the moment?
Yes, Galoobs as well. Completely the Galoobs. Just an accessory left to get, which we'll discuss obviously later on. Also the retros. For all the retros, apart from the new ones that are coming out right now. The next couple of months or so. I'm dabbling in LJNs as well. So the bigger 8-inch figures, primarily, which I've got about 30, 40 of. But I'm always trying to look out for it. It's been finding it harder and harder to locate any here in the UK at the moment. So the cellos. The cellos are the only thing I'm really collecting out of any of the new lines. I'm specifically only a 4.5-inch guy.
Yep.
So nothing. Elites, Mattels, the basics and stuff. I have no interest in any of those figures.
Not even for. So there's only really 3 current wrestlers I care about, and that's the Butcher, Andy Williams from AEW, and there will be a figure of him. I believe it's coming out in the next series, so I'll be getting that. I'm a real big fan of Samuel Shaw, aka Dexter Loomis, and I've got his basic figure, and I absolutely love Dalton Castle. But yeah, I don't. If they made more figures of those guys, I'd be all over it, because current figures, and I'll always get like, they're making new Rick Rudes and stuff. Yeah. But so there isn't. You wouldn't get a Bret Hart figure if they made one.
No. The thing is, once, like you guys are just talking about with the Jacks, like once you start, even just by just talking about getting 1 or 2 figures from the guys that you like, it never stops at 1 or 2 figures, because you think, oh, there's actually another guy that I quite like now. I might get 1 figure of him, but only get the basic and not the elite. But then you're kind of like, I'm an accessories guy, so I'm like, I need to get an elite because that's good accessories. And then all of a sudden, you've opened up. I mean, the rabbit hole is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, you two are much worse than me in different ways. Like Himesh, you'd be like, well, I want him, but I want him in Summerslam '92 attire, but also in the King and everything. And bloody Gary would be I want the blue pants, red pants, green pants.
I want everything. I just want everything.
We have a.
As soon as I see it, I want it. It's a terrible habit to have. I've got to be honest with you. One that I'm working hard to try and bring myself back from.
Well, I've got a seamless segue. Apologies for Andy dropping out. He's had a bit of a boiler disaster apparently, so we'll get him back in a minute. That's cool.
Oh.
Easy Tiger. LOD, best looking Hasbros for me. They are great looking Hasbros. Annoying that they're both jumpers.
Yeah.
Also,
exactly the same.
Press.
Is it? Sorry, you're quite right. Sorry, animal. Sorry.
Animal press.
So to check, you're absolutely right. Yeah. I was going to say, annoying that usually people go, oh, the spikes are all complete, apart from one on the back. Always.
No, it's just annoying.
Paul saying Brett's my fave. Boss Man's first figure, both good picks. Yeah, all good picks.
Sure.
Carlos Hasbro's run into in junk piles at flea markets, loads of beefcake, and Roddy Piper with like 3 fingers.
Or the yellow top, just from the sun damage.
Greg Valentine's got to be up there as well, isn't he? How many Greg Valentines do you see?
I've always found that the sculpt for Roddy Piper, the original one, is one of the most unstable standing figures. I don't know if that's across the board, but every Roddy Piper I've come across, and that's maybe like 15, none of them stand properly. They're always on the bushwhackers. Yeah, sorry, Himesh.
Yeah, because he's arching one of his feet. I can't remember which one is left or the right. So it's already kind of like unstable because of the small.
And he's got that forward weight as well. But Gary, quite right. Like certainly one of the bushwhackers is an annoying stand. Beware the itch. You know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know it. Oh, this isn't a shameless plug. This is quite fitting. So yeah, check out Toy Scavenger tomorrow night. His wrestling mystery boxes. So puts together these wicked boxes with all sorts of wrestling goodies in them. Check them out. I'll say competitively. I'm going to say very, very, very fairly priced for what you're getting them. But yeah, make sure you check out Toy Scavenger. I'm sure he'll be putting it on Insta and all that jazz.
Yeah, it looks like they've got some good stuff in there as well.
So, yeah, some great stuff. I've just realised, I do like a mustachioed wrestler. I do like a mustachioed wrestler. I've got nothing else to add to that. Yeah.
How many moustache, like, in terms of that line? There's only Rude.
The original. Sergeant, just looking at Slaughter's got a moustache.
Slaughter's got a moustache. Repo Man? He's got a little beard, hasn't he?
Jake the Snake.
The Snake, obviously.
So I'm just looking at him. It's not a huge amount. Not enough is the main.
Not enough. You ordered the Dynamite 88 from Cella with the little moustache. Dynamite Kid.
No. Again, on the back of. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. I have ordered that one. Sorry, I thought you were talking about something else. I thought you were talking about an Elite. Yes, I have ordered that one.
The 88 kind of British Bulldogs.
I want to talk to you about Cella. I love Dash. Oh, we'll ask Gary that quickly. What toy show are you hoping to sell next? And if anyone in the chat is looking for very, 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 very good, loose, complete Toxic Crusaders, make sure you speak to.
Nice.
Yeah, give me a shout. Viper, I'm not 100% sure. I'm hoping the next one is probably going to be Sandown in November, I think.
Awesome. Our neck of the woods.
I'm very busy. Well, I'm not very busy. The wife has made me very busy over the next couple of months. So
therefore, he's very busy.
Yeah.
Tiny bit of blue tack, you know it.
Yeah.
I always make sure he's either at the back or the front and gets a little bit of a lean on. Just a little lean.
Why not?
Tiny little lean. Thanks very much, Pete. You haven't got to smash that like button. You've got to elbow drop it.
Yeah.
So, I want to speak to you guys before we're going to do a little show and tell of some bits and pieces. But talking about wrestling figures in particular, it's been on my mind recently. I've got about 15 Cellas on pre-order.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest, guys. I'm losing the hype for it. I'm not going to be buying Zombie Sailor Toys stuff for a couple of reasons, but mainly because I don't think they look like retro figures. I think they look like Elite heads stuck on retro bodies. That's just my opinion. Rush Collectibles have started doing 4.5 inches.
Yep.
And now Mattel, ridiculously, I mean, to me, it's insane they stopped after the original line of retros because every single lot sold out. Have started doing them again, and they've announced 13 new figures all of a sudden. Dudes, what's that?
It's a cash cow.
Well, it is a cash cow, but I got to be honest. I was looking the other day, and I'm like, I'm thinking about keeping all my Hasbros, keeping the original run of the run of Mattel retros, and just like sacking everything else off. I don't know. How are you guys embracing the revival for the 4.5s? I'll ask Himesh first.
I definitely am, because it's wrestling figures are the only things I collect. So whereas you guys have got multiple different lines and some amazing toy lines and stuff that you guys collect.
You're getting into Turtles though, right?
I'm just the four, only the 4.
That's how it starts, mate.
Then
I
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
I'm wondering whether to nip it in the bud before we even started, just by talking to you guys now. But because I only collect wrestling figures and legitimately only 4.5 inch Hasbro retro style figures anyway, these things are like, it's hid in a candy shop kind of thing with the mat they're coming out. Although, like you, I'm not dabbling in Zombie Sailor. 2 reasons. One is the crazy prices, shipping prices, and the cost of them in itself coming over with all the customs and everything on top. And I'm not a massive fan of his conduct and business.
He has a way with public relations. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, specifically even with the UK audience as well. It's almost like he riles in it, kind of. It sort of gets off on basically, pissing us off almost in a way. And so, I've basically got Dino Bravo and I got Earl Hebner, and that was through one of my mates basically getting them over and stuff. So I'm not technically putting it in his pocket rather than with my friend instead. And I've got Jeff Jarrett, but I think that's where I'm going to draw the line basically with this.
Have you noticed that these new Mattel creations that have been announced, like loads of them, pretty much all of them, there's already. Okay, I'm not teaching you guys to suck heads, but for the sake of the chat, there are certain figures that are really popular custom figures.
Yes.
So again, I'm just keep looking this way, looking at Michael, and like the pink attire, Heart Foundation, Jimmy, Mouth of the South Heart, Tugboat, Jerry the King Lawler, Rock and Roll. Rhythm and Blues.
Rhythm and
Blues. Greg Valentine. So a lot of the figures that are coming out, and even NWO.
Yeah.
But they could have done that on purpose, just to upset the customer,
Dude, it's almost too coincidental to me for it not to be done on purpose. Genuinely, I'm not having a pop like good luck to them, but someone on the Legion of Hasbro was saying, and I realised the same. I'm like, I've got quite a good custom Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine, and I've now pre-ordered the Cella Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine, and if I get the Mattel new ones, I'll have a Rhythm and Blues. I've gone from I don't even really want one Rhythm and Blues Greg Valentine. I'm going to have 3. And Gary's like, but they're all different, so get every single one.
Well, yeah, but I am starting to get a little bit peeved in regards to the amount. But look, like you were saying before, we collect, most of us collect a lot of other lines. I would use Mad Balls, for example. Like, how long did we wait for those pre-orders to come? Like, little or no explanation as to where they were or what they were doing.
Yeah.
And when they arrived, great. But where are they now in my collection? They're around here on the floor somewhere, waiting for me to put that. It's. I don't know. I do think this whole pre-order culture is just getting out of hand across the board. I don't think it's just wrestling related. I feel for Cella. I think there's quite a few personal issues going on at the moment in regards to what they're doing, and they've certainly been a lot better in like what they were doing before. Zombie Sailor, the guy just thinks he's a heel character, so he's going to be trying to piss people off and do what he needs to do, but still wants to make money. I don't know. He's not my cup of tea, but I've tried the figures out. I should get them in the next couple of days, see what they're like. I think it's the line I'll go down.
If he wasn't quite as well in with the major podcast, I'm not entirely sure he would have been as successful. But you know what?
Yeah,
listen, fair play. Anyone that does that, as in like makes things and distribute, like wicked, good for him. I just on a kind of on a personality level, I think some of the way he treats people that are trying to give him money, I find bizarre. But no one can question. I mean, the figures are quality. But also, same as Chella's, one of the, not an issue I've got in Chella's, but nothing has any movement anymore. There's no action.
That is exactly what I was just about to say. So when I first got into the Chella's, I got in a little bit late. I've got to be honest. I got in past the Aldis figures, and I think Hayabusa was the first one that I picked up. And my expectation when I opened it from the packet was that it would have moves and actions and things like that. When I opened it up, I was like, well, it's just a custom. It's like basically it's nice and it's cool, but it's just a custom. There's no movement to it. There's no actions so I'd opened the other two, but ever since then I've just kept them on card. I like them. Don't get me wrong, I like them a lot. I will still keep collecting them, all up for supporting them. But yeah, the Mattels, they do it right. That's right, and the Hasbro's before that, they're supposed to be toys. And these toys come with an action. I wouldn't mind if they didn't tell you they had an action on them.
Yeah, it's a bit much, isn't it? Like the thing, like the microphone takedown, and you're like, oh, I've got to do the whole thing myself. Okay.
Yeah, they're obviously like a different machine when you look at Mattel and the infrastructure and the finances they've got behind them to be able to have articulated action figures.
And the price point, right? If you want to keep it under 20 quid, just start putting metal components and stuff. Yeah,
we're talking about guys with runs of like 500 to 1,000, 1,500 compared to like tens of thousands, basically.
How much is a Cella figure? I've never bought one.
Average is about £20, anywhere between like 18 to 22, 23 pounds a figure. Plus the postage and packaging on top. So you're close to like 26, 27 pounds for a single figure by the time you get it to your door. This is the problem with them, which I thought they'd kind of at least alleviate that issue now, was the long waiting time between pre-orders and then the production and then the eventual shipping of the figure. If anything, it seems like, how many is it? Is it a year and a half basically into their business? I think maybe. It's the waiting time is becoming longer rather than shorter. It's not like obviously these figures haven't been popular; they've been selling really, really well. So I'd have thought by now you would have got to a position where they've been able to, get the workflow a little bit more sped up, basically in that process, or have the pre-order dates closer to the production of the figure. None of us know these figures are coming out, so don't announce something today that is not going to come out till a year and a bit down the line.
It depends on their business model, right? They might have to get a certain amount of pre-orders to get the money.
Yeah, potentially. But you know that. But they've had how many figures now that have already been released? I think we're talking about close to 10 or so, and that's not even including like the extended like figures like Joey Knights and the.
I was going to ask you guys about this because I'm a little bit in the dark. I know Gary's all over it, and I'm sure you are as well, Himesh. Joey Knight figures.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
There's like 5 or 6, but you have to go into a raffle, and this is where I'm out because I'm a huge, but this is my personal mini rant. If I'm gonna support a business, and be like a committed loyal customer. I don't want for it to be made like some kind of Krypton Factor Crystal Maze game for me to maybe or maybe not. Like, I need to know that I'm going to be able to get everything. So it annoys me. It annoys me when they go, "Oh, you got to get this from this company." Okay, Wrestling Trader, fine. This, that, and the other. But if a company said, "Oh, by the way, you can only get this from San Diego Comic-Con," it'd be like, "Well, that would ruin the run." So then you're sitting there trying to get it in the secondary market, paying tenfold the amount. So, Joey Knight, what? Talk to me, because I know that our friend Stuart Rock and Roll Collectibles managed to get hold of some. Is that right?
Yeah. So basically, I don't Gary. I can dip in on
No, you crack on, mate. You're going to say exactly the same as me.
Yeah, of course. So basically, Joey Knight is independent wrestler. He's a massive toy collector in himself, and he basically got his own mold of his own figure through Cella. So it's not technically like a Cella, a part of the official line.
Yeah.
But it is a Cella produced toy that he was distributing by himself. He's a big follower on the groups and stuff as well, and Legion of Hasbro is a Facebook group that many people know about. They basically did a sort of deal almost in a way. The mold has already been paid for, obviously, by Joey. So this is a way basically of having their own figure out in the market as to see what the test the waters and see what it's going to be like. Obviously, they went into it not expecting that it would go so crazy on the launch date of this figure coming out. I think they've got how many companies is it? It's first Legion of Hasbro, Rock and Roll Collectibles, 3 Points of Articulation, the podcast, Legion of Hasbro, the Monday Night Quiz.
Yeah.
Am I getting it?
The fifth one was the combined one, wasn't it? It was
yeah. So
is there different versions of it? Is that right?
Basically, it's the same mold of figure. Yeah. They're all different paintworks in terms of the tights and the slip and everything.
Variants.
To be honest, the variant game is it's the golden era of the variant game right now.
Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis. Gary, I saw someone online was offering £500 for a purple pants Nick Aldis.
That's cheap.
That is cheap. Yeah,
it's not cheap.
It's came out like what this year? Like
so Nick Aldis. Okay, so people who don't know I'm friends with Nick Aldis. His official theme music in the NWA is my track. So please check it out on YouTube when God Save the King. Now,
God Save the King by
Swami Barakas. So that's my
Swami Barakas.
Away from my collecting world, I'm also a rapper, although I'm pretty much retired rapping now. But
he's out of the rap. He's out of the rap game.
Out of the rap game.
Completed it, mate, didn't you?
Completed.
Yeah. So this is how bad it got. I had to ask him, have you got any of your own figures potentially, because I'm missing this purple pants Nick Aldis figure. So I originally bought this purple pants Nick Aldis figure from Cella. Yeah. And basically there's the no blood version and then there's the plain version. I wanted the blood version. They got back to me and said, look, we've got one of these purple with the blood in stock. Do you want to swap it? And I was like, yes. Instantly, not instantly. I regret that fully now, because that one figure is legitimate gold dust. Right. Because I've got all the other variants and I've got every single Cella figure apart from the purple pants Nick Aldis figure.
And there is a reason behind it, though, isn't there?
Well, yeah. So what happened was there's a distributor in Las Vegas. I think they're called the Nerds.
Did he buy all of them or something? Or
basically, he apparently got exclusivity with these purple pants Nick Aldis figures that he was going to sell at like a convention in the States back in the summer of last year. So he's got the majority. When I say majority, me and Gary will know from the groups. We only know about like 10 or 15 of these at all from anyone that we know have come across. So I'm assuming that he's basically got the rest, which is close to about 70 to 80 of these figures. Now, we found out about this, and a number of us, I mean, like all of us, have basically tried to get in touch with this guy to see if we can basically get hold of these figures. The guy is a tool.
No dice.
With the best of words, no, this is a family show. And he's basically wanting to use these as an exclusive with NFTs, which he's basically trying to sell. No one's going to buy these things. I don't know how much the NFTs are.
That would make me want to collectively get everyone together and go make them worthless. Like what Andy said, Well, and he said, like, how can something that was released like a year ago,
Exactly.
like, who cares? I feel the same way about people that are grading. Quite
retro.
honestly, Mattel Retros. I'm like, what are you doing? They want that you could buy them from the Entertainer like 3 years ago. What are you doing? But hey, each their own. So
There
Gary,
goes my money pit, Dan. Thanks, mate.
so Gary, have you got a purple pants Oldest?
Do I look like I've got a purple pants Oldest? I think I've got the gold one. That's about it.
I genuinely thought you'd have one. I thought, okay.
No, I got in after Aldis.
That's right.
So it wasn't really something of my. I joined the guy's stupid tweet thing that he had going on with the NFTs and things like that to see what it was all about. Realised very quickly that the guy's an absolute rip-off merchant, and didn't go any further with it. So I wouldn't have bought an NFT off the dude anyway. But it's the same thing. I was just like, interested in what it was all about and where the story was going. But it's not up my road. I like stuff. I like to, but I'm not going to be paying £700-800 for a figure that's
absolutely not.
Never
It doesn't have an action.
I could say figures with £800-900. And
I'm like, no, you're quite right, mate. You're quite right. And I just remember what I spent on the 1, 2, 3 kid and what Andy's actually going to show in a little bit. So we're like, you're quite right, mate. But sometimes I'm
not saying I wouldn't spend that money. I'm just saying I wouldn't spend that money on a purple pants Oldest.
I wouldn't spend that money. No, I'll rephrase that. Sorry, I wouldn't give that money to him. That's my problem. It's like if that's what it cost and it is what it is, and maybe, but when there's someone like that, you go, I'm not going to give you that money, and it's a pain because you don't want to sort of buy into validating a £500-600 figure. I'd be like, nah, man, I'll give you £100 for it. That's it.
Yeah.
But
what's the most any of you would spend on a single action figure? What's your absolute limit?
Depends what action figure it is, mate.
Don't have a limit.
No limit. Wow.
Me and Gary are too unlimited.
No.
It would have to be something that I really, really wanted, but I don't put a limit on things because I wouldn't have half this room if I did.
Absolutely.
Like if
my
I
limit
can get
would just be my bank balance, I guess. Like there's a lot of things I look at that I'm like, oh man, I want that, but I also need to pay rent, I need to eat, I need to sort stuff out. Apparently now the boiler's broke, so I need to figure out what I'm going to do with that.
I'd be more inclined to drop large sums of money on like movie props. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone had they won't exist anymore, but if someone had an alien mask from the film Bad Taste that was used, then I would just be like,
but then it's literally like a one-off, or there'd be like one or two of these in the world, which kind of makes sense. When it's things like action figures, that went out in like hundreds and thousands. That's when it gets a little bit like, an opportunity could arise basically with something coming along that
I don't know what it'd have to be. I genuinely don't know what it have to be. Like I don't know like how rare. I mean, there is something I've been after for a while. I won't bore you with what it is, but it finally popped up on eBay of all places, and I sent a message to Al, and it was like £300, and I'm like, ugh. And then the postage is like £70. I'm like, ugh. And then the import charge is £100. I'm man, like, and that's something I'm actually after. So I don't want to spend £500 on something.
But if you had it in hand for say £400, you'd probably say yes because you've got it in hand. It's the idea of paying £100 on top just for import tax.
Months for it to turn up as well.
Yeah, if it does. Yeah, if I came across it at a toy fair, I would lowball them and end up paying whatever and then complain about it for sure. Yeah.
Especially spending that sort of money on a picture as well, because that is what you're seeing in the first instance. If you get it in hand to actually have a look at it, you get to check everything over to make sure that you're happy with it.
Yeah, that's why toy fairs are the best.
They are.
Yeah.
And he's on a Red Bull instead of a beer.
That's where everything's going wrong. The camera broke, then the boiler's not working. I don't know.
Casey Jones, Turtles, Hasbro's and Galoobs. TMT is a good. I don't collect Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I've now got a whole load of them because I like the music.
You've got more than most people.
I have carded the 4 original ones carded.
Exactly. But I don't collect it. I promise.
hit the nail on the head with God. Somebody said to us, "Yeah, man, it's we don't want to get like we're going to start a beef with like no one cares."
Yeah.
I think people are well aware of his personality.
Yeah,
I think he's well aware of his personality. I think that's the
I just don't think he really cares. Is the point? Is the point?
yeah.
Right?
He still gets his payday. Like,
Exactly. They are great figures. They're great looking figures, but I just can't justify it with costs. And especially because it's not just one. There's going to be like multiple waves of this.
And I guess that's my point. Is like, and now Rush collectibles are starting. So I'm looking at all these new figures, and I'm like, ugh, maybe I'll pick. Annoyingly, right? I said about Richella, and I've had this conversation with both you, Himesh and Gary. Like, I'm just going to get the ones I like.
Yeah.
And I haven't got them all but they remade the Ethan Page, and then they remade the blue Habayasa, and they are redoing the blue meanie, and so I'm like, I will have one, and I'm like, and that'll be fine. And then I see what's coming up, and I'm like, well, I like all of these, and they're doing. I look at Brian's drawings for Demolition and for and I'm like, irritating.
The up and coming Cellas are amazing, honestly. And I think that's probably why I've continued to go down that line, hoping that it would steer on like to get those quicker.
And speed up, right? So I was like, Gang, like, so what I want, Gangrel, Al Snow, from Mattel, I want Edge and Christian, I want managers, I want females, I want Big Show. I want that middle ground of maybe not the originals because we've got a lot of them, but I don't need another warrior.
Some of the characters
right. And I thought, Cella, but then you get excited. Cella, we're going to do this, and that. You see Brian's drawings, it's amazing. And then you give them your money, and you wait like 18 months, and I'm not that jazzed anymore. And I appreciate it is what it is.
I think people are also left with a bit of a bitter taste after the Adam Bomb. We waited so long, and then everything was coming off the card and things like that. We were also told about 3 or 4 weeks ago that that Giant Haystacks was coming.
Going to be
a couple of people in the US get them, and we still haven't received those either. So people do start, and I'm the same. You still start sitting there going, well, don't say that things are on their way if they're not. Like, we're happy to wait and to follow you, but don't give people false hope because you will wind us up pretty quickly.
I don't know why I bought both Giant Haystacks. I display loose, so I will be loosening. Well, I've still got a full set of the 4, the Mr. T Mattel Retro set. I've got to buy 2 sets because I can, and I've just got one in my loft.
Same. Just sitting there gathering dust.
You're hoping for the Hasbro.
No,
Hasbro
genuinely, I was like, I'll get 2 sets because somebody that I know will want a set and won't have a set, and they can have it for what I paid for it, and that'll be a nice thing. But it turns out I only know Himesh and Gary, and they both ordered them.
Yeah, we've
both ordered 2 probably.
We've ordered 2, so we've got 3 spare sets between them.
So I do collect retros carded and loose. So yeah, I did.
We know we've seen your store. Unbelievable. The seams for wrestlers around Gary's store.
Mate, the panic on people's faces. Vader Bell Choice is in the chat. He came running. Sorry, Vadertron's toy chest. He changed the name. He came running up to me at one point at the beginning of chat and was like, "Where's that Gary guy? Where's that? He's got loads of retros. Where is it?" And I was like, "He's right there." He's like, but he was like a panic of like, "I need to get there first." But I think he'd already been out.
That's what it was. He'd been after a Brock Lesnar for a while, and he got finally ultimately sorted it.
He got it. Yeah.
I've had someone was like, right, John Cena. I need a John Cena. And Gary was like, there's John Cena. They're like, well, I'm not paying that. And just walked off. It's like a tenner. I was like,
you just don't want that John Cena then.
That's fine.
Oh, dear.
So Paul's saying pre-orders have killed the toy buying and selling. A little bit. Small business have to do it to get any sales at all due to the cost prices on buying stock in. Don't get me started. I hear you. It's a tricky one. I understand the need for it, but it does somewhat. I've got no problem with pre-orders, but I don't like the idea of like, well, I have to pre-order it or I ain't going to get it. So you pre-order it, and that sucks all the excitement out for me. But
sometimes they do have stock. Basically, once these things have come in, it's not like people are like, oh, I didn't get an Adam Bomb figure. Chandler do have Adam Bomb figures.
Yeah.
They use them either like they put them out as like damaged packaging figures and stuff once the next lot of waves are coming in, things like that. So it's not one of those things that's the be all and end all that you're not going to get it. I privately messaged Chella back when they were really great with their customer service, and they managed to sort me out. when things were, were off the website, but they had to do it themselves.
I got to say that is a massive tick for me. That the fact that they do damage package reductions.
At a reduction price, absolutely.
Well, and if anyone, I know we've mentioned it a couple of times, but the Legion of Hasbro Facebook group, if you're into wrestling figures, I highly recommend joining it because it's a good bunch of people that help each other out. And there's people going, I've got an Adam Bomb figure that's coming off the card. I've got an Adam Bomb figure that's perfect. Yeah. I'm going to take it off the card. Does anyone want to swap? Because I collect. So I mean, my one basically, I opened it up and it went and just fell out, and I'm like, wicked, because I was going to open it anyway. Whereas if it had been on the card, I would have said to you guys first, Gary, if you collect them sealed, do you want my one? But my one was in 3 pieces when I got it. I don't care. It was fine. It was Tony saying a lot of farmers are in trouble with people pre-ordering and cancelling. Yeah, man. Yeah. I've seen a bit of that as well.
Again, it's like things like this. I've heard people wanting to cancel their cheddars just because of the long wait time in between them. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, unfortunately.
I tend to treat the pre-order. I never used to. I used to do a layaway or whatever it was with pre-orders and pay 10%. But I moved out of that pretty quickly, and I just pay the balance now. So I treat it as if I'm buying a toy as I normally would, and then I tend to forget about it on the basis that I've already paid for it, and I'm not going to get a kick. So when they all come running in at once.
Can I offer you a top tip though, and I'm sure you're aware of it. This is more for Andy's benefit. Write down what you've bought, and then you'll know what's coming.
I think the problem is that not so much with the wrestlers, like they're pretty good, but the Hasbro and Mattel figures, recently they tell you one date that they're coming out, so you think that they're coming out, and then they bring it forward, and you get them early, which is great in one way, but it means that you end up getting 3 or 4 figures all at the same time. Yeah. Which then means that you've got to fork out for all 4 of those figures, whereas before you were thinking they were coming at separate times. So
I'm with you about paying up front. It's just Andy's got several different Mythic Legions coming from several different places, and he's not quite sure what he's ordering
from one place. And I was like trying to, if I get some from here, some from here, some from here, and I'll find out what the costs are when they actually turn up, because I'm still new to it. I don't really know. But the saying about like buying stuff up front, remember that pumpkin Madball from Premium DNA? When did we order them? Like 2019?
The need for the thrashing, super speed thrashing Madball, yeah.
But like a company that we were saying earlier about like customer service, they just keep bringing out repaints of the ones they've made. And where's this one that I paid for at the very beginning? Like this, I think this one was advertised first before the main ones.
It hurts me. It hurts me to my core to say this, but I'm almost certainly not going to be buying the Earthworm Gyms.
You're a big fan as well.
I'm a huge fan, but I don't. As good as the sculpts are, I don't need 3 remolds of figures that I've already got. And the one figure they're making that was never made of the original Playmates, it's amazing. Dr. Monkey for Head is an amazing figure. Professor Monkey for Head, sorry, but it's a completely different scale. So I don't know. I'm a bit weird like that. There we go. Yeah, use the pre-order to judge the amount needed. That's probably accurate. Yeah. Sorry, I'm catching some comments. But yeah, there are lots of different coloured. It's for people like Gary who just can't stop buying variants. Can't stop himself. Hello, buddy. Yeah, the hard foundation would be nice.
Everyone will get these figures. I know that. Patience is something that unfortunately we thought as kids we were impatient enough with toys and figures. As adults, as grown men, coming into their 40s, we're just impatient. Yeah. So
I had to be patient as a kid because it was my parents' money I was spending. I don't now; it's mine.
Yeah, I can fund it right now.
The kids aren't eating. There's more Hasbro's coming out.
Yeah. Hello to Callum. Everyone, make sure you watch the Retro Ghetto building the. Toy room, games room, shed of all sheds. It's pretty impressive.
That's what I was trying to do when I disappeared, but for some reason it just won't restart. I don't know. Maybe the ignition thing. Yeah.
Pay your cost of retro set. If I do have a spare we've all got spare retro sets, so if people need some stuff, speak to us.
The long waits of toys. The Mythic Legion stuff are always pretty much a year in advance.
Yeah.
And I had the first few that I ordered. I was like, I hated it, but now I've got into the swing of it. I'm like, right, I know I'm not going to get it for a year. So just having to adapt to it.
I'm going to counter that and say, how good was it when you went, Mythic Legions have just dropped that they're doing a Krampus figure. and you ordered it that night, and we got it when?
Like 2 months after we got it. Just
Dude,
we got it,
less- it was
no,
less
it wasn't.
than
Yeah,
that.
sorry, no, you're right. We got it in time for Christmas.
It was like 10 days. It was ridiculous. It was like it's come from America in like 10 days. Yeah.
No import charge either. It was
Just do that. Just keep going. We're making these. They're coming out next week rather than we're making these. They're coming out next year.
fair enough. But I'm just trying to make myself feel better.
Rise being cheeky. They're not apparently they're not bad guys. They're just utterly useless at communicating. So before I want to go into some sort of pickups and stuff you guys have got recently.
You didn't even do that yet while I was disappeared. Sugar.
No, we were talking about
Okay.
wrestling figures. We haven't even started about Summerslam yet.
Maybe we haven't. Okay.
We haven't even mentioned Vince. Any of you guys going to the Wales show? I know one man that is.
I am indeed. Yes. I'm unlike most of the people I speak to across all our wrestling figure groups and stuff. I wasn't at SummerSlam '92, which is like everyone's just like, yes, amazing memories of being at that day, and I'm just like,
Yeah, I've never been to a wrestling show at all.
ever.
Nope.
That's not true, Andy. You was at
Oh, sorry, the chat. Yeah, sorry, I've been to the Chapman's biggest one. But yeah.
I'm kind of annoyed because a friend of mine was she ran hospitality at the O2 Arena, so whenever the wrestling came round, she'd be like, "Can I see wrestler?" I'd be like, "Yeah." So she'd sort us out a corporate box.
No way.
So like 3 or 4 times, me and Hannah and whoever went and watched. And now, I 100% it isn't ringside. It's not, but it's still really cool. We saw some, and I'm one of the best guys that I was genuinely one of the best performers and crowd engagers. I think it wasn't a Raw. It was like maybe it was. Doesn't matter. It might have just been a live one. It was like it's a house show ever. Bo Dallas live. Just when someone just like
Gets it.
Well, yeah, but just like conducts the audience, and he had a dance off with. He had like a dance off with archery. It was fully entertaining. But she moved to Ibiza, so otherwise we'd be going to we'd be getting corporate. Honestly, it's the best corporate. But
house shows are great. They are really good, especially if you've got kids as well, because they really do interact. Like, I've done a few house shows with my eldest boy.
Yeah,
and they are really good in comparison to the live SmackDown or Raw that they have, which is so much more regimented in what they're doing. They make it feel like it's a live event, but it's the house shows are great fun.
But also that the matches are much more like a high caliber matches and stuff.
Yeah, they can. As you guys well know, the one thing that you have to do for TV, or certainly for WWE, is slow down.
Yeah,
for the TV audience, whereas you see it live and it's just boom, 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 boom. It's just much better. Oh, look at this, Paul. Got Mason to write a letter to Drew. I still to this day call him Drew Galloway every now and then.
Yeah,
Drew McIntyre. And he wrote back to Mason, and we wrote back to Mason, which will open on the 6th birthday, saying he's invited to Clash of Customers.
Amazing.
That's wicked.
That is awesome.
Brilliant.
He'll love that. He'll love it. He'll love it. He'll love it. He'll love it. Right, so I'm going to go first because I have basically nothing to show, and in fact, the things that I bought recently, I bought off Andy. So
nice. There you go.
Very unexciting. Gary's bored of this. I understand.
What did you go off me? Oh yeah.
So I've got some stuff coming, but all I've got of any interest are a few Hasbro wrestlers.
Nice.
But just some a nice clean yellow perfect, because I was looking at my ones. I'm like, some of my, because they're kind of played with. So a nice clean yellow perfect. Thank you very much, Andy. A super nice.
Oh, that's why I had it off the side.
Boss man, but look at the hairline. Oh, the light's not doing it justice.
It's super nice, but look at this hairline. It's crap.
No. I'm trying to get it without the light. You guys know
that figure is pristine. I've seen it.
You've seen it in hand. So I had to buy it.
Has it got the big boss man printed in? Well, or is that missing anything?
Mate, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is.
Gary's seen it. It's genuinely probably gradable, mate. I'm not going to do it.
Oh god.
And Andy bought a big lot of some really, really nice. I mean, that $1 million man you had, it was outstanding. But if you can believe this, well, you guys can believe this, 2 Gorilla Press Warriors, neither of which had any nose damage.
Oh wow, 2.
Yeah, there's one aside for you, Himesh. Don't worry.
Thank you very much.
So there's one for Himesh, one for me. They're basically identical, mate. But
amazing.
Even my warrior that I've got that has no nose damage, it's got like the tiniest.
Yeah, same.
But these are perfect. So thank you very much, Andy. That is that's what I've put. I mean, I've been working.
Where does he find these little toys?
I just got really lucky with a lot that I bought. And at first I was like, they're going to be awful, but all the wrestlers were like unplayed with. I was like, I don't understand, but it's fine.
Absolutely.
That's like a classic Andy's Toys and Models 2018 kind of haul.
Yeah.
These massive like Hasbro hauls and just like.
Man, I wish. I mean, if I knew then that Hasbro were going to boom, I would have kept all those carded ones, like stored them up. But
yeah,
you can buy them most of them off of Toy Scavenger now. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, Paul's got a lot of good stuff. I've got to say this. Carlos, Summer Rae at House Show insulted the city in my area and called it dirty in Spanish. To the majority of the crowd of Mexicans, they booed her in intention of discretion. I think Summer Rae was highly underrated.
Yeah, 100%. Didn't utilize her well enough at all. She was at Fandango's kind of dancer. And
I love Fandango. It annoys me that. Why do they ditch Breezango? Anyway, that's a whole different conversation. So, Himesh,
yes,
I'm making you big. Boom.
Okay. Right, so pickups for this week. So I not massive amount on the figure front. I picked up one figure this week, which I can share with you guys. Galoobs. I've only got the sting of the larger 14-inch Galoob figures. It wasn't something I was really pushing to kind of carry on and get the other 3. But I saw this come up for a good price on the Bay, and it was with the belt as well. So the Ric Flair in really good condition as well. Move that across.
Yeah.
The hair really well. The pants as well. There's like hardly any paintwork. There was like a few black marks in it, but I managed to clean them all off as well at the same time. But it came with the belt, and I think it was all like 21 all in posted.
Oh.
So it was a really good price. I couldn't. Oh, there you go.
That's great.
I couldn't say no. So now it basically means I have to get the other 2. I wasn't intended any of them, and now it just feels lost just with the 2 of them and the other 2 as well.
It also means for scale, you need to get all the Star toy figures as well.
Oh god,
that's big money then.
That is dangerous. That is mortgage money right there. Basically. But yeah, I got this. This is the only one figure I got this week.
That's cool.
So boot sale. We frequent the same boot sale week in, week out. I haven't seen my boys there for the last few weeks.
You there on Sunday?
Yes. Well, potentially. I'm going to see the Commonwealth Games on the Saturday night in Birmingham through work. Okay. I got two free tickets. So that's going to be a late finish than driving back from Brum. But I'm still hoping to soldier it the following day, just so I can potentially pick up some other things from the stuff that I picked up last week, which I'll show you now.
Yeah. Andy, get there early. Get there before him.
Everyone's going to have their 4 a.m. alarms on basically on the Sunday. Before that, Dan knows my son is a massive dinosaur guy. So when I can't find anything for myself, I try to find some amazing dinosaurs for him. So I'll just show you what I got. I don't know if you know the Invicta like dinosaurs, from the Natural History Museum.
Yes.
Back in the day. So this Mamenchiosaurus, and I've also got
the Natural History Museum dinos still command quite a price.
Exactly. So these were all £1 each. They were like super cheap. There's another one, Brachiosaurus.
What's the tail like? Not chewed.
Tail is in good condition.
Lovely.
They've got the Diplodocus as well, but that tail snapped off. And then another one as well. I think it's a Cephalosaurus here. They're all like £1 each. And that was that point. I was just like desperate to find something because I couldn't see anything, and it was going to be another damp squib of a car boot cell.
He didn't know what was coming
until. So this is like, when I say towards the end of the day, this is really towards the end of the day. So a month or so ago, myself, Dan, I think it was just the two of us at that point. We saw a guy that was selling over there that you'd met basically at Sandown the week or so before, and he and through his dad or something managed to pick up. They do house clearances, and they managed to pick up like a whole set of Hasbro's. And when we say whole set, we're talking about high-end Series 11 greens.
In unbelievable condition as well.
Absolutely great. It must have come from the House of Collector. It couldn't have been stuff that was played with, is what I thought. And the conversation you guys were having was over a 123 kid, and which you happen to have in the car. And so it's like the only time I'll ever see a 123 kid at a car boot sale, pulling this out basically and showing us. And then there was a humorous bidding process, basically trying to lowball him into giving to us for I thought it was a reasonable price for a 123 kid at that point. But
I offered him 350 quid. I mean,
mad to say 350 pounds a lowball price on a 123 kid, but that's where we are right now, basically in that figure. So obviously I think a couple of weeks or so later, that him and his dad both came back, but they had sort of like some of the basic Hasbro's there at kind of eBay prices at that point. So didn't really think much of it, But the same guy was there again on the Sunday. Now, I had a conversation with the son that time that we went, and he said, I've also got accessories for these things as well. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll be interested in some of those the next time you guys are here. And he was like, yeah, cool, no worries. But obviously, I haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
They were there on what the dad was basically there on the Sunday. And they had the same basic Hasbro's that were there, and a few guys were scavenging over them basically on this one side. Yeah. But there was 2 or 3 like boxes in a row which had loads of like other bits and pieces, loads of like cars and little other plastic bits. And like I said, you guys would have known a lot of this stuff more than me, because like I said, I'm only a wrestling guy. But there was like as I trawled through these boxes, there was a bunch of like accessories that I absolutely recognized at the bottom of each of these boxes.
I've got an image of you like picking up a Scratch the Cat and throwing it out the way, and
the blank face from Dick Tracy or
something. The blank see you later, whatever that is. I don't know these things, you know what I mean? But the stuff that I did know, the thing is, like, Dan knows me, like when I'm going to boot sales, I'm the one looking out for accessories. If people follow me on my Instagram, The Restlessness, right, you'll see that I do a lot of accessorizing with modern day kind of retros and Hasbro figures as well, with elite accessories to basically just take them to a different level. They're quite basic figures anyway, so I just try to take them, to a real aesthetic place. And you're getting lots of love from it. So thank you to everyone that's been, pushing into great. He's got me involved in it as well now, which is a
thing. Yeah, it's inspired loads of people to do the same. And like, one of my mates who sells on eBay said you put up a picture of like, I think Sami Zayn with a cap and a shirt, and then within an hour, all my Sami Zayn shirts got sold out on eBay and stuff. Yeah. So just, think of me when you're like putting the next thing up and give me a 10% discount, bro. Is what I'm saying.
or at least a name check.
Or at least a name check, exactly. Something on those lines. So what I saw initially, the first thing I saw like when I was on there was the Jake the Snake. So I was like, oh, okay, let me grab that quickly, which I'll show you right now. Is the first thing I basically grabbed from this person. And it's actually in fairly decent nick as well. Like, sometimes the tail can be chewed off, etc. from the bottom. But what I'm saying, I think the guy that they took this from, is it must be a collector, because there were like loads of little bits and pieces that I started digging through and finding. I found this.
Yeah, I mean that's a pricey.
If anyone knows what this thing is, will know that like the cost of like a full Razor Ramon with the chain, the majority of the price is in the chain itself.
Yeah.
And this was in there, and like I said, my eyes basically lit up, and then it was like, what else can I find? What else can I find? Managed to then find a 2x4.
For comparison.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the chain right there. 2x4. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was in there.
Nice.
Yes,
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And Gary as well. Hacksaw Jim Duggan that has the flag, blue Hacksaw Jim Duggan. You both put a 2x4 with him as well, right?
100%.
I would, but I can't find an original one at the moment because I only buy original accessories for them. So,
Well, I mean,
but
this man got one.
Go down to your local boot sale. You never know.
I don't think I'll be as lucky as you, Himesh. I don't have the patience of you.
When we said the luck, like I boot sell with these guys week in, week out. It's taken a very, 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 very long time in order to get to a point of any kind of luck. And this is like once. When I say these things are like once in a blue moon, it's once in a neon pink moon.
I would disagree with that because did you not find Demolition's hood in the bottom of a box as well?
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's okay. I'm saying that.
Hang on a minute, and you bought the whole Macho King setup from the same.
From a different seller, yes. This is what I say to people is, right, like I'm looking for these things that nobody else is looking for. No one goes into a boot sale looking for the smaller bits and pieces that are right at the bottom.
Gary, I'm going to qualify that and say I'm absolutely looking for them, but I can't bother to rummage like these guys.
Yeah, that would be me all day. If I'm not seeing it on first inst, I'm out.
That's it.
But the thing is,
I put up against me. I'm getting violent, so I'm better off just looking from afar. And
honestly, it does get violent, these boot sales, with some of the other I've seen it myself where people are aggressive over them. So that's why I try to stay away from like the figure side of things, because people know the figures. Any punter, any kind of dealer will know Hasbros when they see them. But what they won't know is all the little bits and pieces and the accessories that basically come with these things. And I was saying to Andy earlier on when he was talking about I couldn't be asked to kind of go through these boxes. I learned all this stuff from YouTube and Arrow. You should, like, to see you guys rummaging right to the bottom of the box is what inspired me to basically do the same. So don't be all like Padawan on this bit now, right? You guys are the masters at this.
I take no responsibility. The only thing I take responsibility for is I am the master of the low ball offer.
The low ball offer. I do the same. I'm just as frugal as you. So if I'm going down, I'm taking you down with me. I also picked up a glued belt. There was only one of these belts in there, but always nice to have a glued belt.
Nice.
And then I also picked up some nightstick Bossman. And the reason I was especially looking for a Bossman nightstick is because I need one for nails.
Yeah.
The Hasbro doesn't have any accessories. Obviously, he used to carry the nightstick when coming into the ring in the WWF 92 era. And so this is absolutely for him.
I'm looking at my nails right now that has a nightstick because you mentioned that to me the other day.
Yes, there you go. So basically find one for yourself. I think it'd be the next thing on the agenda. Standard Brutus Barber scissors, which are in okay condition, always nice to have. And I've got a scepter for Macho.
Nice.
Nice to pick up the crown, as Andy was saying, from another seller last month, so now I'm able to complete the set for Macho, obviously there. And I also picked up a couple of turtles stuff, like we were talking about, a couple of turtles.
Nunchuck inside.
Original accessories, it's nice, yeah.
Always nice to have. Now this one was actually one of the early ones that I picked up when I was going through these boxes. But when I say my eyes lit up,
I bet you were like, oh.
It was honestly
poker face.
Yeah, very much poker face, because I at that point I didn't know if this guy knew what these things were, and then was basically going to say X amount of money basically for them.
If he knew what this was, it wouldn't have been in a box.
It wouldn't
have been in a baggie, and he would have gone, I've got something to show you, 100%.
Yeah, come to the back of my van and stuff and pull out your checkbook, basically what he would have been saying. But no, it was in a box with other loads of bits and pieces. It was like bent over a couple of ways because there were some Matchbox cars kind of like pushed up against it. Now the WCW Galoob figures, they're the kind of the lesser cousins of the Hasbros. They were always like, they came out the same period, and they were pretty much used as jobbers when fighting with the Hasbros and stuff because you couldn't do much with them. They're not articulated; they're complete molds. But there were some really good aesthetic figures in that line. They probably look a little bit more realistic than the Hasbros do. But I was a big fan of WCW in the early 90s. I was a massive fan because I didn't have Sky. And so WCW was on ITV at that point, so I got a chance to see more WCW than I did WWF. So there's always a strong connection in the figures.
The WCW ring was also superior to the Hasbro.
Yeah, 100% steel cage, which I think was criminally not there with the WWF ring. Plus it had the bell, plus it had like
the jumper.
Jump, exactly. Yeah, the little hammer for it as well. So yeah, really, really great ring, which I didn't actually get till my adult life. So I didn't even have that basically as a child. But the Galoob figures were popular, but more popular in the UK, and that's the reason why they released the last line of Galoob figures exclusively here in the UK. Now, these things are still hard to find here, and in the States, they're absolute gold dust. But there's only 2 accessories for the entire line of Galoob figures. And both of these accessories command, when I say stupid money, it's like ludicrous money here and in the States. And so
I'm chuckling to myself a bit, because when you show this, anyone who's watching who doesn't know what this is going to go, what an enormous letdown this is.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing. So I posted this the other day and stuff, like across the wrestling groups, and lots of guys were like, what am I looking at? Yeah. What am I looking at? Exactly. If you're in the know, if you know, it's one of those things. And I absolutely knew it, and I don't think anyone else in the entire car boot cell knew what this was. And so
I'd have known, mate, if I was there.
I know. And the way I'm so glad that basically I was there by myself to be able to grab all these things, because I'm
man, I'd have loved to have been there, just to have been there when you got it and been like, yes, because
I would have just cried into your shoulder, genuine tears of delight and stuff, and you would have to carry me home, because in an embryo fetus position on the side of the car boot cell, just kind of looking at it and just like smiling.
I'd have given you a celebratory suplex through the table.
Yes. And I would have let you.
As long as you didn't drop it in the grass, like
no. It's still just to make sure it's still there in front of me, just in case. Sorry. So I digress. There's 2 accessories in the Galoob line which are like ridiculous money. One is the Lex Luger entrance gear has a pair of these chains that go around him. I literally only ever seen him ever wear something like this once in his whole time as a wrestler.
Fragile. They are fragile.
And they're absolutely fragile, easily breakable. Hence the reason they command crazy money. I think we're looking at like 300, maybe 320 pounds just for the chain by itself.
I've only ever seen them in a pack. Do you know what I mean? And it's super money. I've never seen them loose. So
I bought them basically in the pack basically when we were kids, but you lose the chains because it's just like, they're just useless. And then there was one guy was selling them on the Facebook Marketplace. I don't know if you saw it recently, about a month or 2 ago. And it was a £5 for the chains plus like Butch Reed and a couple of other figures. And he put himself down as Bracknell, but he was actually somewhere in Scotland. And it was, I think everyone in the Galoob collecting world had basically messaged this guy trying to find out where he was and if he can post his chains. I don't know what happened in the end. He didn't sell them, or he sold them, but I don't know if any of.
I was going to say someone would offer it.
Where they've ended up.
Exactly. I have no idea where. I think whoever did would have kept stum about it anyway. Unlike me, who would just tell the whole world that I've got.
I've got it for $5.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Where's the fun in that? But the other accessory is a UK exclusive, Big Josh, who ended up being joint later on in the WWF. And he has an axe handle that is just a little bit of plastic. Literally, if you spotted it, like loads of people have said to me, it looks like a spliff or it looks like a cotton bud. But what it actually looks like is this.
Now
I've not even cleaned it up either. This is exactly how I saw it in the car boot.
I'll be cleaning that up.
Yeah, I will absolutely be cleaning this up, but I just thought I'd show you what condition it was in the car boot cell. When I say that it was literally in the bottom of a box, like crushed up against loads of other bits and pieces.
Yeah. You can probably straighten it out as well if you just
The thing is, it's quite flimsy-ish kind of stick anyway, so
it's really imagine if you just snapped it.
The accessories with Galoob are really flexible, aren't they? The plastic.
Absolutely. It's like, there's no chance of snapping it or anything. It just needs a good clean. But as soon as I saw this, like I said, it was eyes lighting up was an absolute understatement. And then, I obviously showed him what I'd found and stuff like that, and the price he quoted me. Am I allowed to say?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask, if you didn't want to say you don't have to, but I was going to ask, what did you?
Okay. All I say is all of that was under a £5, is what I would say. Loads of people have been asking. I did mention it a couple of times. They want to talk about exact costs and stuff because, but
I mean, it's a slightly moot point because you're not selling it. So.
No, this is absolutely not 100. I've got like a nice custom, like I was saying to the guys, like a nice custom for Darren Sedgwick. That's customs. There's amazing custom figures. Also got my Greg. We're talking about Greg the Hammer with the Blues version. I got mine from him as well. Really lovely figure. And I've also got, like I said, I got a custom of this only just a month or two ago. But this is absolutely staying in the collection because when I say it's one of the holy grails of the wrestling figure collecting world, it absolutely is. It's one of the most lucrative accessories of all the lines.
It's one of two of the hardest to find accessories.
Hardest to find, exactly. Of the hardest. So I was there for a good half an hour at this guy's store, looking through all of his boxes.
Chains. The chains.
Yeah, I thought if I found this in there, then this was one of the first things I picked up, and then I picked up the razor chains, and then I picked up the nightstick and all these things.
Man, I'd have been
left there
with the razor chains as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I left there and then came back there after doing a whole round to say, did I miss anything out? And then I found the 2x4, and then I found like the glue belt and stuff like that. So I was like, well, he's probably got more bits and pieces like amongst his stash and stuff. And about
100%, he won't be there on Sunday. But,
I don't know.
Well, if he is, he's going to be swarmed.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Well, we only the three of us know exactly which person we're talking about. So
exactly.
So it was the find of the century. It's the equivalent of finding a 1-2-3 kid for me. Because accessory wise, you're not going to find these are the most expensive accessories out of all the figure lines. Mattel, Hasbro, Galoob, and these are right up there. So it's the find of the century for me.
I love it.
Still buzzing.
I love it. Gary, have you got? We're like, I'm loving our chat, but we're not going to get to talk about SummerSlam. We're going to have to come back another day and talk about wrestling.
I was saying these guys, I've got nothing good to say about SummerSlam.
No.
Positives, but like it's just
like, You don't add me to the bloodline, and you don't let anyone ever win a belt. Anyway, Gary, have you got any recent pickups?
I've got a few bits. So I got.
You know me already.
I recently got my Mattel Creations Bandar He-Man.
Oh, is that the one? Is that the Wonder Bready one?
Yeah. So
is this now with the new cardboard packaging, or is there actually a figure?
No. There's a figure inside. So all the Mattel Creations Origin figures come in special packaging.
Yeah.
But
that's cool.
Very nice.
So yeah, he's the Wonder Bread He-Man from the Origins line.
I still find that story really interesting because correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is nobody can really say with any level of confidence if that was an actual thing or not.
Well, no, I've seen people in the States that have said they own them and have showed pictures of them, but I don't honestly know if they're real or not. I don't.
Himesh, if you don't know about the Wonder Bread He-Man, basically back in the day, if you collected and bought Wonder Bread and you got tickets, you sent off and you got essentially He-Man, but like with brown outfit. But nobody can confirm if they were ever made or sent out. So people have often said, I've got a Wonder Bread He-Man, and what that meant was they had a repainted He-Man. So
right.
Have you got Gary?
It's a great story, and it's obviously from the Origins line for them to have made one.
It's cool.
It's good.
It's cool. I like them, and I've got the others on order as well at the moment. The SDCC stuff that was coming out, and when the Eternia gets put through, we'll see how much that's going to cost. But
I reckon it'll be cheaper than you think. Is my thoughts on it.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Listen, it's not Super 7. That's all you need to know.
No, well, that is true. To be fair,
how much was when the Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain came out? What were they, like under 100 quid?
Yeah, so they would retail about 80 quid, wouldn't they? I think 89 quid.
I don't think Eternia will be that much more.
I reckon it'll be. I'm going to say 110. That's my guess. 110.
I don't think it'll be a general release. I think it will be a backing one, a bit like the HasLabs.
Yeah.
And I think off the basis of that, they will make it probably around about the 300-400 mark. and then they will say that because of, like, if you reach so many backers, you'll come with this, that, and you'll get like snake armies and things like that come with it. So
it's going to be in my face. I'll have to buy a flipping HasLab massive thing so I can get like the limited edition Rio Blast, because they're not going to make another one.
They're going to do the Origins Rio Blast. They have to. They've done Origin for everybody.
Haven't done a Rio Blast. Wonder Bread Company says there's no record of doing a He-Man malware. Yeah, this is it. No one can say, but there is legit adverts for one, so we know they offered one.
Yeah, and like I said, I've seen a couple of places in the States who say that they have genuine like Wonder Bread He-Man. So I don't know.
No.
But yeah, so I got that, and as I was saying earlier, there's a guy that I buy from in the States that I got like lots of carded things off, but he never really has any wrestling stuff generally.
Yeah.
Well,
he recently got
2 weeks ago. So I've now got. I won't show it all because there's lots of it, but just picking a couple off the top. I bought quite a few Bendhams.
Lovely.
Ooh, to the Bendhams. Oh, Doink Bendham. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like I said, I wouldn't generally be interested in these, but the cards, as always with this guy, are just absolutely
nice,
really nice. Like they've got nothing on them at all. So yeah, I went ahead with them, and then he also had a couple of squirt heads.
Hey.
I've got a couple of these. They're good.
Yeah, I thought they were quite cool. Don't see many of them over here now.
Yeah.
Is that the $1 Million Man one you've got in your?
Yeah,
it's supposed to be. Yeah, but
that's the one. That's the one. If I was ever going to get one, it would be that one. It looks like no lemon.
I've never seen the Bushwhacker one actually. That's the first time I've seen one.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. That's really
not Bushwhacker one at all. That's awesome.
That's actually really cool. That one, yeah.
But yeah, so there.
Gary, you selling the Bushwhacker one, yeah? Bring it to a.
It's all going, mate. It all goes.
Is it?
It all goes. Yeah.
Put me down as interested in the Bushwhacker squirt head.
All right, buddy.
Bushwhacker or $1 million Man?
All of it, both of them, everything. But genuinely, the Bushwhacker one, I like it. It's interesting.
Yeah, I've got some more stuff coming from the guy as well, but those ones have been caught up in customs, so I'm gonna have to pay to get them released. That's the first time it's ever happened, but so I'll have to see. But yeah, there's a couple more bits coming from him from there. A couple of more squirt heads as well, which is quite cool. But
we
yeah,
talk about
he doesn't generally do wrestling stuff outside of Jack. So when these came up, I just, again, as I always do, just went all in and got them.
All in, dude. Well, I'm up for a conversation with you about the squirt heads at some point.
Yeah, cool. I need to do some checking on them because again, they're not much over here to base it against, really. So
what you normally get is either absolutely mangled cards or loose. Loose is fine, as I like loose, but like you never see nice cards for the square. That's fine. You know, it is what it is.
And this is it.
Carded Warrior.
Yeah, you're a nice warrior.
So the Hulk. Yeah, I've got the Hulk as well.
Yeah, I can tell you because I won't like doing this, but I've got the Warrior and the Matto pump squirt like with the handles.
Oh yeah,
nice.
So I've got them coming on card as well.
Okay. Cool. David raises a good point. Are we doing a second part 2 next week? I don't know if we're doing it next week, but we are going to talk to these guys really about wrestling. Maybe it won't be a Wednesday night thing, but we've talked about toys, which is what we do on a Wednesday. But we do need to talk about wrestling at some point. I apologise for having wasted your guys' time.
No, my bad.
In comparison to what I would have been doing, you certainly have not been wasting my time.
Is that your shows, Gary? I want to squeeze Andy in before we call it a night.
Yeah, that's like I said. I've got loads of Bendhams, but I don't like. You don't want to go through all of them.
Bendhams.
See, I'm not a Bendham's fan, but that Doink one is cool.
The Doink's cool, man.
Different character, yeah.
So we're gonna take this this week home because obviously it's about 1,000 degrees. I'm sure it's hot for everyone, and we've done an hour and a half. Andy, show everyone what it is that you picked up because I think this is wicked.
Well, listen. Okay, so just very quickly, I've got 2 things coming from this seller. The first thing has been stuck in Chicago. It went from Chicago to like somewhere else, and back to Chicago somewhere else. Then it came here, then got sent back. but now apparently it's on its way back here. So there's something that's been traveling for about a month and a half.
Himesh, stop talking. It's gonna say.
Seriously, I've only just come out of my rehab for this. But it's not.
Well, last week, then the seller sent me something which I've paid paying for, but he was like, "Oh, there's a lot going on. I don't want to like get it lost, so just have it and then sort it out later." So the seller is, as always, I've bought a lot of stuff off this guy on Instagram, but it is number 112 Laser Beast Dino Gator.
Yeah,
which is the last in the actual set, and it means if fingers crossed the other one turns up, then I only need 2 more, and then I would have a set of 112.
So we're talking about sort of, I guess, big time toys and expensive.
This would be like the green series of Hasbro's.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Awesome.
If it was complete.
Without giving too much away, Andy. If it was complete, well, it will be one day with its gun and its sled. How much are you talking?
More than a 1, 2, 3 kid carded.
Wow.
Yeah, it's mental.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's one of the ones I need, and if Claire hears this, I'm not getting it. But one of the ones I need, someone was selling it with its weapon, and it was like $900. I'm not getting that.
It's a rarity.
Yeah.
Or is it?
The last 12. Actually, the one that's got the one that's like 900 is in the last 16, but they were only released in Japan.
The thing is, so if you managed to pick up all the other ones, and that was the last one you needed to complete the collection, you'd have to
I'd be saying, can I do it on like a yearly pay away or something? Like, you keep it, I'll pay it bit by bit.
Andy, am I right in saying that last 12? I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be going overboard, but my understanding is that they were made in Japan, and they were put in like almost like mystery balls. Is that fair to say?
The mystery balls are for something else.
Is that something else?
The last 12, there was like a run of them only, in Japan. But then, I can't get it because I don't want to knock it over. But then there are other ones that were like, mystery blind bags.
Yes.
So you bought like 2 or 3. You then got to choose a blind bag, and you might get a premium figure in there that you could only get in a blind bag, or you could get a regular figure.
I mean, like the Battle Beast Laser Beast world is it's a murky world indeed when it comes to completing.
It's no. But good people like these guys, they totally understand that like money is not to be thrown around. Like they've been really good with partial payments and stuff.
Yeah,
and like
monthly payments and whatnot.
Yeah.
Awesome.
See, Claire?
That's when we talk often about when you got a problem, when you have monthly payment plans for us.
If young us could see future us now.
Yeah. They'd be going, don't throw it away. Don't sell it, Gary. Don't sell it.
To be fair, my dad was always like that, me growing up anyway, and still the same now. It's like, you're not throwing that away. No, that will go up, or put that up in the loft. I used to think he was mad. Yeah. But he obviously had something that he knew that was going on with it also. Kudos to my old man.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, I failed in every way possible to talk about SummerSlam and the state of WWE. So
this is Brad's.
Hey!
Oh, what? Didn't even notice that in the background. Just
yeah.
I bought this from Brad a while back, and
that's
I mean, it was criminal what I paid, but I love it. Thank you so much.
It's criminal what you paid. Andy gave me a carded demolition set because I gave him some loose. Do you know what I mean? It was just like whatever, and I was like hundreds of pounds.
Demolition. Me and Gary, we need to start hanging around with these guys.
I know.
More and stuff, do you know what I mean? Because I get like a pair of socks.
Nearly as good as Scott. Like, do you see Scott's Comments and Collectibles have got his £10 LOD from the Booth Bear?
Yeah, you know what? This came up on my Facebook feed the other day, and honestly, like we talk about these kind of like crazy miracle things that we find at car boot sales. You just don't find mock Hasbro.
You don't, but exactly what you said earlier, Himesh. Just, I mean, these guys know. The guys in the chat know. They know what we're talking about. They all do it themselves. But that is dozens, if not hundreds, of early mornings Do you know what I mean? Absolute unicorn find. But it's not like, I'm going to go have a card boot and pick up a mint on card Hasbro today. Like,
Well, exactly. So talking about the finds earlier, and like us week in, week out looking for these things. I remember seeing 2 years ago when I think was it Aaron or was it you, Dan, that picked up a Adam Bomb, basically, at a car boot sale. Yeah,
was actually both of us, but yes,
So that's the thing. It's like but that's come from the culmination of doing these things week in, week out, the early mornings and stuff. And some weeks are drab, but you do it anyway for the hope and for the off chance that you never know.
And he got a Purple Heart Brett.
Purple Heart Brett, in that big hall and stuff with like there's a Marty Jannetty party. Marty was in there as well. So this is the thing. It's like we go for that reason, I was having this conversation with you guys I think a couple of weeks ago about like not being able to find Hasbros and these things nowadays, and when you do find them, it's a real rarity. But that's what makes going and trying to find them that much more.
When you do,
exactly. That's the thing. It's I'm a bargain hunter anyway, and so like going to a car boot sale on Sunday is actually one of the highlights of my week. Only real chance that you just never know, and you've got to be in it literally to win it and stuff, So I don't know not found this and stuff. I would have just kicked myself for like weeks and weeks and weeks. So
more often recently, I have been in my bed while you've been out searching.
There you go.
I'll give you not even 5 minutes. I'll give you 20 seconds. Disappointing no belts changed hands. Good to see Bailey back. I think that would be a good faction. I bloody love Pat McAfee. I'm very, 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 very bored of the Bloodline in every capacity. I think they're amazing. I think they're brilliant heels, but they should have lost and regained the titles, and they don't need to have all the titles. And Naomi should be added to the Bloodline, and it annoys me that she's not. I don't care about almost anything else, and Edge needs to retire for good, forever.
That was about a minute, but there we go.
I think to say I do agree. I think in regards to SummerSlam, it was okay. That was it. I don't think there was anything major about it. Raw was okay on Monday. That was a little bit better. Started to build up. But so I won't spoil it for you, Himesh. It's nothing major about it. Very Bailey focused, which was good. So really pushing the stable there. But it's okay. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where Triple H takes it now.
I think we can agree that it's a good thing in a creative sense for Triple H to take over.
100%. But like I was saying to everyone who's spoken to me about Vince, don't get it twisted. Vince is very much
he's still there
behind the scenes, but he's basically like the consigliere is what he's basically become, and he will be making a lot of the decisions.
Yeah, he won't leave.
Absolutely not. He until the day he dies, he's still very much going to be like pulling the strings at WWE. So.
Also, want to add that I don't like Logan Paul when it's got, and not even in a heel way. I don't want those things to be cross-pollinated. It annoys me. It's like people go, "Oh, Conor McGregor's gonna." It just annoys me. I don't know why.
I think I agree. I do agree, but at the same point, I'll give the guy his props.
It was good.
Worked hard. He's obviously put a lot of effort into doing what he's doing, and it's a new dynamic for viewership, I suppose.
It also demonstrates just what an absolute asset the Miz is in every.
I was going to say,
he carried him so well in that match. You could see it was pretty blatant, but even so,
the Miz. To me, the Miz is.
I don't like the Miz at all, but he is. He's a very
I love
this actual WrestleMania. Was actually bought at WrestleMania 31, which I was very, 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 very happy to attend. One of the best WrestleManias in recent years. Not met the Miz, when we were walking down the street outside I think it was the Raw after WrestleMania or something. He was there, and we just went up to him and said, "Oh, I'll take a picture, big fan." And he just looked at us, looked back down at his phone that he was looking at, and just said "access" and walked away. And so we were like, okay, that's
See, that's a douche.
Classic guy.
that's not good.
So, Mister, I didn't go to SummerSlam '92s, pulling out WrestleManias.
Not going to SummerSlam '92. The hurt from that meant that I'd end up going to literally every other wrestling show.
He spent the next 30 years. in fields scrambling around for.
Yeah, exactly. That's the reason why.
Right, guys, let's call it there because I am more sweat than man once again. I apologise.
More sweat than that.
More sweat than man. We'll do this again soon, and yeah.
100%. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much for having me on, man.
I say we'll have you as individuals and collectively and whatever. That it was my plan failed massively, but it doesn't matter because we still got to talk about toys.
Exactly. There'll be a part 2, part 3, part 4.
I'm that sweaty. I've taken my John Cena sweatband off.
Oh my god! I'm going to take this all off and just sit in my box and have a living room.
You're basically wearing a hoodie.
I'm not.
I've got no sympathy for you, Himesh, at all.
Honestly, do you know what I mean? The things I do, you know what I mean, to preserve the sanctity of wrestling, like, do you know what I mean, still.
For the harassment.
Yeah,
guys, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching this chat.
There you go,
guys. Thanks very much.